Okay, we're going to go into Brian Tenclinger, who's our area director. Uh, he was on my Tequila Tuesday this week. Um, when I first met Brian, I'll tell this story. Ed Verberg, we had shirts. We gave him a shirt. He got a shirt this year too, and his nickname is the Brain. And I'm sure he's one person that can follow Sue and at least keep you interested. So, Brian, I'll turn it over to you. And thanks for coming today.
Well, I appreciate that, Governor Don. And hello, everybody from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm Brian Tenclinger, and I have the honor of working at Kiwanis International. I'm also a member of a Kiwanis club, so I think I pay myself. I think that's how it works out. But I am as Don mentioned, I'm the area director manager for Kiwanis, which is a really weird title. It's hard to understand. Area directors, there are 5 of us, and we are paid staff members who manage a portfolio of Kiwanis districts. So we are, for the governor-elect, and the membership teams, we are their 1-800 number. And my portfolio includes the Pacific and Mountain time zones. So I have Southwest District, California, Nevada, Hawaii, Pacific Northwest. I have all the fun places that to travel, which is kind of cool. But I live and work in Indianapolis. I just give you some background information. Like Sue, have a collegiate background. I spent 25 years working with college students, working my way up. I was a residence hall director, and then I worked my way up to be a dean of students. And then I switched over to be an executive director of a men's fraternity. That's always great stories. If you know anything about fraternities and sororities, try being their exec. And then I came over to Kiwanis. So a former student of mine was working at Kiwanis International and said, I think you'd be a good fit here. And I said, let's talk. And so here we are. So 5 years later, I am with Kiwanis. So Sue mentioned some of the stuff that she got to do traveling. Well, I've actually been very privileged to see the fruits of that labor. My very last business trip for Kiwanis was to Nepal, my little Nepalese hat on. And about a year ago today, actually, I was in Nepal where we were hosting the Asia Pacific Education Conference. And I got to meet some of the most amazing women and men who are Kiwanians. Right now, Nepal is probably our fastest growing district. We cannot keep up in terms of shipping materials to them and so forth. But we're a little behind actually in our shipping and receiving because Nepal is so Nepalese, people in Nepal are so open to having a service organization in their backyard. So it's an amazing place to visit. I encourage you, if you can, sometime to be there and just feel the passion and love with them. So I get to travel a lot with Kiwanis, and it's always interesting. You get on the airplane, you sit down, and there's typically someone seated next to you. And so what are you traveling for work or pleasure? Small talk, right? You traveling for work or pleasure? Oh, I'm traveling for work. Well, what do you do? Oh, I work for Kiwanis International. And what people usually hear is, I'm a flight attendant for Qantas Airlines. They get Qantas and Kiwanis a little confused. So it opens a door to a really cool conversation. Like Sue, I carry membership materials with me, and I've been known to recruit someone sitting next to me on a plane. Or as soon as the flight lands, I call that governor, hey, I'm on a flight with, her name is Betty, and she lives in Illinois, and you got to have her. Like we cannot lose her as a potential new member. So like Sue, I'm always on the hunt for good Kiwanians. I have a really interesting background. In addition to the work that I do, I also volunteer for my fraternity. My formal volunteer title is district governor. So like Governor Don, I manage a bunch of fraternity chapters in 2 states. I have Indiana and Ohio. And this morning I'm dealing with a hazing allegation because that's what college students do when they're bored. So it makes an interesting life. And then my husband and I are co-owners of a bakery. So a lot of people associate me now with the baked goods because we have a bakery. It's all him. My husband is a French pastry chef, and I'm the dishwasher. That's my formal title. I'm the dishwasher and I make sure the company car gets paid. That's about it. I appreciate the work. So I've been asked to talk about conflict resolution, which is really awkward when you're following Sue and she's got all these really cool, like, and here's me in Cambodia and here's me with the president of Taiwan and here, conflict. So I opted to not do a PowerPoint slide because that's boring. I did send to Ken a handout that's already been uploaded to the mid-year website that you can use. It's downloadable and it includes some of the, like the textbook stuff. What is conflict? You know, all the textbook stuff that you would need to know about conflict and conflict resolution, and then the sources that I cited, because that's always important. The Dean of Students kicks in every now and then, must cite your sources. And then I also included some Kiwanis information, basically some questions. Here's what we typically see in the Kiwaniverse when it comes to conflict in clubs. So what I thought would be more important is just let's have a little conversation about conflict, and then I'd love to open up the channels and see what's going on. So what we know about conflict is sometimes it can be productive and sometimes it can be unproductive. A productive conflict could be a simple disagreement or a difference of opinions that, when managed properly, leads to a really healthy outcome. Sue and I may have a different opinion or approach to something. We agree to sit down. We start to understand each other's side of the story. I never thought about it that way. What if we tried? And then we lead to a productive outcome. Those are the best. When I was working on campus, roommate conflicts, the freshmen who move into a residence hall together, and there's roommate conflicts. One's a night owl, one's a morning person, and you have to work through some of the conflicts that come with living in a 10 by 10 room with each other, and all the stuff that comes there. What typically will elevate up and bubble up is unproductive conflict. And that's conflict that you all know can be hurtful. It could put the brakes on the work that people are doing, and people can take it personally. People can really take it personally. What we find with any type of conflict is there's some common denominators, common causes. Poor communication. Sue and I just aren't communicating on the same level, and we need the chance to get together. Lack of information. CK and I might know different things about something, but we just haven't had the chance to sit down and put puzzle pieces together and be like, aha, so that's what's going on. Lack of institutional knowledge. I'm so glad, Jordan, you chimed in and said, I'm a new member and I'm younger and looking to get involved. That's phenomenal. I think the mentor piece is going to be great, but learn some of the institutional knowledge or the organizational knowledge. The phrase that we always use is, learn where the bodies are buried, because that's where stuff is. Learn about why some things take place. What are some of the traditions in the club? Learn about some of the traditions that may have stopped in the club and the reason behind them. So that's important. Conflict can also lead to a breakdown in trust amongst people, and that hurts. It takes time to build back trust with individuals. And then, of course, personality differences. What we've seen in the past 10 to 12 years is the rate that conflict can escalate is so much greater because of cell phones and technology and social media. It is so quick to get onto a platform such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, state an opinion that may not be accurate, and boom, we've now created some conflict. There's a difference, as we've seen in the past couple of years in the United States alone, there's a difference between starting a conversation for sake of, hey, I'd love to get into a friendly debate about this, versus I'm going to make a statement that I know is going to really make you mad, and get you uncomfortable. And so we have to be careful how we facilitate that. Within Kiwanis, we often find that conflict comes from different camps. And that is the general member and the leadership. What we find is there's a lack of transparency. When a conflict typically comes to Indianapolis, when it has escalated to the point that someone from the international headquarters is getting involved, after we do the fact finding, what we typically find out is there may be two sides that are not being transparent with each other. you have a longstanding club treasurer who's been in that role for 22 years, does not feel like he needs to share financial records anymore because there's nothing wrong. Versus, actually it's a best practice. We probably should make sure all of the members, regardless if they're the same, been in the club the same number of years as you or brand new, know what's going on financially. And so we typically find there's a lack of transparency. So how do we resolve this? And is to pick up the phone and have a conversation. We are, I don't know if you've ever tried, for those who have youth in their lives, whether it's a younger brother or sister or a son or daughter or even a grandchild. I don't know if you've ever tried to call that person and they don't pick up the phone, but if you text them, they respond almost immediately. This drives me nuts with my nieces and nephews. It just, I don't know. It's a phone, for the love of God, like answer it. It's my soapbox, right? So what we have found is that people will hide behind their characters, not their personal characters, but their characters as in their keyboards. People will hide behind their keyboards and state opinions, and it's happening now in Kiwanis. We are so quick to send an email out and complain about something versus this probably could have been solved by picking up the phone and saying, Tony, do you have 10 minutes? I'd love to talk to you. Or can we meet for a cup of coffee? Chances are Tony probably knows what's going to be happening, but to sit down and be face-to-face with each other, if we can, tends to really help the problem. So I would encourage us as Kiwanians, especially when we're working with youth and with ourselves, to remember, while the phone is convenient and it's very easy to send a text message or push an email out, it might be more effective to start by having a conversation and saying, hey, this is what's happening. When I worked on the campus as a dean of students, I often was dealing with conflict. Students that were in, the conflict had escalated to the point where there was now significant concerns happening. The student, everything from they were pulling pranks on each other to hateful messages and so forth. And for me, some of the best solutions were the students agreeing to disagree about coming out of a situation. Sue and I may have completely different opinions about how funds should be spent in our Kiwanis Club, but if we agree to disagree at the end of the day, that may be the best decision, because ultimately funds are being spent. People are benefiting from the work that we're doing. It may not be what I personally, Brian, thinks the money should be going to, but collectively, the club has made a decision to make that happen. Front somebody, rule of thumb, focus on their behavior and not the person as an individual. If you ever have to sit down and have a conversation, I'm seeing a lot of heads nodding. A lot of you have been parents, huh? Or teachers, a lot of maybe some former teachers in the room, or managers or supervisors, or to avoid those stinging comments, focus on the behavior. Sue, I have seen for the past 3 months that you've been very late on submitting your expense reports from all the travel you do with Sparty. As a result, we may have to take away your credit card privileges. How soon can you get those expense reports in? So I'm focusing on the fact that she didn't, she's sitting on expense reports, not Sue personally, so it's always better to focus on the behavior. If you are a club leader, lieutenant governor, or even governor, document and start to look for patterns of behavior, because that's what that's where a lot of conflict gets, builds up over time. Is there's been a pattern of behavior over time, and if we can nip that in the bud and get that addressed now, we'll be much better off, going down the road. But that documentation may also be helpful if the conflict comes down to we need to remove a member or we need to change a policy or a bylaw, something along those lines. So, and finally, this is where we often forget to do something in conflict, is reach out afterwards and do a follow-up or a thank you. Sue, I appreciate you sitting down with me last week. I know we both still have some thoughts and opinions about how those funds should be spent, but thanks for taking the time, and thanks for handling it in a manner that didn't trickle down into whatever the circumstances are, but just being available for people to be aware of what's going on. What I would love to hear from you is who can you turn to for help? If there is conflict in your club or in the Kiwaniverse, who would you turn to for some assistance, coaching, or guidance? Board member, and you can feel free to use the chat if you don't want to. Lieutenant Governor, yep, that makes sense.
Governor, if necessary.
Absolutely.
I was a lieutenant governor under Harry, who was accessible, and we really appreciated that. But I also know Don very well, and he is absolutely very accessible. And he's a great person. First one to say, I don't know the answer, not always, because he's military. He usually knows everything. But is able to lead us where to go, whether to call Ken or, whatever else we need to do. Nice thing is he works very closely with Harry, who was our previous governor, that they can talk and talk together, works with Tony and Alma, who are a wealth of knowledge. So that is extremely helpful. We've had conflicts in our club over this last year, but have been able to actually rebuild and build beyond what we were at even one time. So we are bigger, better, and stronger because of how we handle our conflict resolution.
Good.
And I just want to say that BK and Ellie have been so awesome. They have mentored me through this whole process. I've only been in for about a year or so. And if I have any questions, I just pick up the phone or email or text or whatever to BK and Ellie, who are here. So kudos. Thank you very much for not only being a sponsor, mentor, but a friend. I appreciate it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, have a go-to person, but a safe person that you can go to that, run those ideas by, especially if you're in that leadership role where the conflict may come to you by default. You are the club president, you are the club secretary, the club treasurer. Conflict sometimes comes because there's a financial concern. You're the governor, you're the lieutenant governor. That's fine. I'm a go-to person for a Kiwanis lieutenant governor who I've known for several years now. She feels comfortable calling me because I can be Switzerland. I can be or as much as possible with the situation. And I'm glad to do that. I'm glad to be there because sometimes I may see something, I often tell people there's, three sides to the story. There's my side, Sue's side, and then what's not being shared, or what Sue and I may not know. There may be some stuff that we just don't know, which is interesting. I have seen a lot.
I was going to say one of our resources is our attorney, and we have one for the district, Phil Fargenstein, and one for the foundation, Pat Irvine. And when I was president of the foundation, and I sort of had them on speed. You really need those folks giving their time freely, and really the last person sometimes, but finally we say, yeah, we better call Phil or we better call Pat. So our attorneys are wonderful resources.
Absolutely. And calling an attorney and letting someone else know that may sound like a threat. So how well, I'm going to call my attorney. Versus I think I need to check with legal counsel on this one because we're dealing with a tax code, or we're dealing with, something that an attorney should be able to coach us through that type of situation. Yeah, absolutely. We have in-house legal counsel now at Kiwanis International, meaning we have a paid attorney on staff, and it has made such a world of difference to us as an organization, especially as we've had to move through the pandemic. And so many districts have had to pull out their hotel contracts and look at, oh my gosh, we're not going to be able to do, we don't want to get charged $50,000 for canceling. How do we, well, that's where David can come in and help mediate and negotiate between that.
And Brian?
One of the challenges, oh, yeah, go ahead, Terry.
One quick comment. If you've ever been in any leadership position, whether it be in Kiwanis or even in your daily work jobs, I think no matter what level you're in, there will be conflict. I mean, it just goes with the territory. And you're usually the mediator or the person that can help smooth it out. And in some circumstances, as you know, and BK knows, and some of the others that know me through the years I've been in Kiwanis, sometimes I get involved with the conflict. And then we need to have people from outside to come in and help solve that situation. So it's going to happen. Don't feel like, oh no, I've got a conflict. What do I do now? It goes with the territory. And you have people to go to get the correct answer on what do I do and how do I do it. And it's there. So work with it. Yeah, thanks.
Miss
Nilda.
Yes, I just wanted to say that the direct approach, I've found that I have learned a lot from that. On occasion, just going directly to the person that conflict seems to be brewing, it helps so much in de-escalating and really understanding where that other person's coming from. And I have been one of those individuals where someone has come to me, and that conversation is so appreciated because at that moment, it gives you the respect of understanding and trying to understand your point of view before having to go any further or that it becomes worse. So the direct approach, I think, is really important.
Yes.
Hey, Brian, if I might add something. I've found with my time in the service, obviously I dealt with it almost daily, and this will be a short war story. Once was on session at church, we argued. I sat there for an hour and 15 minutes. They were arguing. So finally, I spoke up and said, somebody at this table has an agenda. Until we get that agenda worked out, we're not going anywhere. So, the pastor was upset with me. Here's a new guy. And so the agenda came out, and it was legitimate because the guy was just trying to protect his wife. He didn't think she was treated fairly. But then I asked the follow-on question, and this is the point of what I'm saying. How long has this been going on? 4 years. So I told the pastor, oh, we can't fix that tonight. Let's move on. But I found in conflict resolution, and I agree with Nilda, you need to address it early on. That's one thing I don't like about being governor. There's too much conflict that I'm dealing with stuff that takes my time away from doing what I want to do, and that's help children. We're all adults, and I see people doing chat. I do not like emails or texts to tell people what I'm thinking. If it's some contentious, you need to talk to them because words get misconstrued in texts, emails. I had a guy work for me in my last job in the Army. He'd always text everything in capital letters. Well, that meant he was upset. So I brought him in the office and I said, John, do not do that. We are all in the same building. Go talk to the people. I found with texts and emails, we no longer talk to people.
Yeah.
And it's hard sometimes. You just got to be neutral and listen. And that's hard for all of us, me included. You've got to listen to people, but you need to do it. I'm very direct, unfortunately, but you've got to solve the problem early on. Don't let it fester.
I agree. BK?
Yeah, just one comment. Similar to Don, I was on the police department as a commander and worked there 28 years. So I'm very familiar with conflict.
Yeah.
When I joined Kiwanis as a commander of the community relations, I noticed that there was one unique thing about most Kiwanians. And if you go back to school and you look at how you categorize people, there are a lot of people categorized by alphabet, and there's A, B, and C personality. Well, the majority of Kiwanians are A personality because they achieve where they've been and they want to share their knowledge, their talents, and they come to an organization where they can do that. Therefore, guess what we get? We occasionally get conflict because you got multiple A personalities trying to accomplish one single goal with different approaches. And if everybody would just realize we're all trying to do the same thing for the same outcome, then we can obviously work better together sometimes. But when you don't realize that other person is as emphatic as you are and their way and their method, sometimes it makes it a lot more challenging.
Yes, yes, I completely agree. I have yet to meet a Kiwanian in all my travel who is not compassionate. Like, they are very compassionate and they are very passionate about the work that they do. Sometimes that could become a hindrance, because they start to, it's my, I'm very passionate about this. We have to do this particular service project. We have to hang on to this service project, even though we all know it's just not having the impact and it's time for a change. Being that direct person, being that, hey, let's step out of this picture for a second is going to be oh so important. I also think it's important that if you are somehow involved in the conflict, recognize your own personal space that you're in. I have shared with a lot of district leaders that March 2021 is most likely going to be hard on a lot of us. We're only 6 days in, and it's the 1 year since we've literally had to change our lives completely. March 13th marks the 1 year that Kiwanis International staff went completely remote. So there's these dates, but that just brings back a flood of memories. And with those memories come feelings and frustration and so forth. And it's so hard for us to focus on the small wins, that are happening around us, and focus on the positive. That when we do that, we just get so irritated and mad, and the littlest things are going to trigger us off. So it's important that we recognize that space that we are in. My mom died on March 31st last year from COVID. I know I probably need to take a couple of days off around that period because I'm going to be an emotional wreck. I'm feeling it already. And so for the sake of my colleagues, the people who I love and work with every day, and we love what we do, I'm going to take a couple of days for me, right? So I recognize that, and that's going to be important for me in order to make that happen. So Don and Tony, you'll probably get an email from me saying, Brian's out of the office. It's not that I'm ignoring you, just Brian needs some Brian time, and that's completely okay. That's completely okay.
I have something I wanted to say.
Yeah.
We had a retreat last year, the year before. The years are blurring, but that really helped avoid conflict because we had quite a few members. It wasn't just the boards. And it was a great time to discuss projects that we've been doing and take a look at, what we wanted to change or to continue. And that way you're kind of getting that all, you're airing things there, and it's kind of setting the stage for the year to come. So maybe that's a good way to prevent, or you can't prevent it, but to help with future conflict could be, let people air things there and come to some decisions there before you start the new year.
Yes. I work with several amazing districts. We all have amazing districts, but there is a club in the Pacific Northwest District that once a month, they put aside the business meeting and they do what I would consider a fireside chat. They take turns going from Kiwanians house to house before the pandemic, but they would just come together and literally do what you just described, Nancy. They would kind of unpack, hey, what worked well this past month? What are we proud of? At the same time, just having, some coffee and refreshments or a cocktail or two, but they would put aside the business because we get so worked up about, we have to do the agenda. We have to to blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, we have to help ourselves before we can help others too. And that club is doing really, really well. They're thriving. They've been able to make that, you know, continue that tradition that they've agreed. One Zoom meeting a month is just going to be on, you know, small wins and what's working well and that type of thing. But I love the idea of the retreat, getting away for 6-7 hours, you know.
Have you guys heard of K-Cups?
K-Cups.
It's a thing that I think maybe Donna Hilton might have started. It's a, Donna, do you want to share about it? I don't know if she's listening, but it's Kiwanians keeping up socially. And so it's sort of around that idea where we do like something fun together, you know, an art project or, you know, something like that. I never thought about it though, as kind of including a little bit about how did things go in the last couple months. That would be a good addition to the social part.
Yeah, yeah. When you say K-Cup, I immediately go to, I have a Keurig at home, coffee maker. And so I immediately go to, yeah, I think about K-Cups about 3 times a day.
But actually the program, just like what Nancy said, is keeping Kiwanis up socially or something like that. And actually I have to say, you know, we just get together and do something social. So we just went to a vineyard a couple weeks ago, and it was outside. And so I've got to say, I like the idea that we don't sit around and talk about Kiwanis because we're so ingrained and we do so much, you know, and so I think it's an opportunity to just get away and just be friends and learn more, you know, about families and spouses come. And so anyways, I'm sorry, Nancy, that's what I think. I kind of like keeping it a little bit social and
100% agree. It's been great. And as I've traveled, it's been great. You know, I shared a little bit in my introduction. My husband and I own a bakery together. Well, that's a very clear indication of where I fall on the sexual orientation stage. I'm an openly gay man, right? But it's been great to meet other Kiwanians who are in that same camp, right? You know, I've had several people come up to me saying, I'm also gay. And well, that's great. And, you know, and we've been able to build a little fellowship that's, you know, just something different. We have a lot of Kiwanians in our Wisconsin Upper Michigan district who get together to knit. They are knitters. For some reason, they love to knit, and they've created these sewing circles, and now purposeful because they got to get stuff, you know, made, and awesome. Good for you. You know, there's a ton of ways that you can do that to keep that up. It rebuilds the trust, it reinforces the trust. It gets people from all ages involved. You know, from Jordan, who shared that she's 19, up to our oldest Kiwani. Now, remember, with the younger ones, the drinking age is 21, so don't do a wine tasting event and expect Jordan to be there. You know, she legally should not be doing that. You know,
Ray Devine has raised his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
Brian, for something Governor Don said, I think BK brought up, it's about timeless. Many years ago, my employer sent me to a course on conflict management. And one of the points that everybody brought out was timeliness, because sometimes conflict ends up like being a fairy tale. The more the story is told, the more it's embellished and the bigger the problem gets. And in a small organization like a Kiwanis Club, when there's conflict, it tends to build, divide, and create sides. And everybody then, as you say, creates their own agenda or resolutions and makes it even more difficult. And from a business perspective, I know that if I have a conflict with a customer, it's better to discuss it and resolve it early, because in the long run, it's going to cost you. It may cost you credits on your billing or something like that. So, and as I said, as the story grows over time, there's more things to resolve in the conflict. So as Don and BK said, getting it resolved on a timely basis at the start of it is probably one of the most important things you can do when you're talking about trying to resolving a conflicting issue.
One of the big challenges we face in Kiwanis is there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of policies and a lot of layers. We ask our clubs to stay local, like operate autonomously at the local level, but you're part of a division, which is part of a district, which is part of an international organization. And every layer now adds more stuff sometimes crap, right? And it's weeding through that becomes more and more challenging. I learned so ironically, one of my mentors is a past club president in the Southwest District, Alan Roselieb. I don't see him on the call. Alan was my band director in high school, and he taught me lessons very, very early on. When I became drum major of the marching band in high school, he taught me to go to the back side of the football field and observe from behind. Observe from behind. I'm like, why? The sound is coming towards the crowd, and you have to conduct from the crowd. And he said, you'll learn so much more by observing from behind. Yes, you're a leader. You have to stand on that podium, but sometimes you have to get in the back and watch where it can get muddy. Watch what's actually happening behind the scenes. For Kiwanis, we get so involved in policy, procedure, and we have people assigned to do that. They are your Kiwanis International board members. They are your governor. And I know, Don, it's frustrating, but yeah, it's part of the deal. You have Ken. You have the Ken who his job is to sort through all that, and he has a go-to at the headquarters named Bryce. Bryce and I ironically look like each other. We often get confused, but we've tried to set up a 1-800 path for you guys to deal with. So it is very easy, and I want to acknowledge that. It is very easy in the Kiwaniverse to get frustrated with our system and our process. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but at the end of the day, it allows our clubs to be as close to their communities as possible, with some guidelines, right? Please do not distort the image. Please do not change the official colors. There's some of those things. But we want Kiwanis to be Kiwanis regardless of where you go around the globe. If you've traveled internationally, you can recognize signs and symbols. The McDonald's golden arches are the same everywhere, with the exception of one location, ironically, in your backyard. Has anyone been up to the McDonald's in Sedona, Arizona? They had to get like special dispensation of Pope to have the golden arches painted teal, because the golden would take away from the natural colors of the sun. That's the lore that I've heard, right? It could be something completely different. But it's, you recognize and you look for those signs, those symbols, those widgets, whatever it is. It should be the same with Kiwanis. From the outside looking in, our members only know one international organization with the headquarters in Indianapolis, and we want it to be that way. Our job as Kiwanis leaders is to help facilitate all that stuff. Who's Al and I play virtual duets now? Really? Who? So someone knows my band director. Knows Al. He's amazing. He's a good soul. Which is pretty cool. But yeah, Al taught me a lot. So he should be on this call. Someone go re-recruit him. What questions do you have? What can I help you with? I want to be sensitive to time, and it is a Saturday, but I'm glad to help or answer any questions that you have from a headquarters perspective or conflict in general. So we'll just open up the chat lines here. The phone lines are open.
I think I saw Bernie with attention.
Okay, thank you. And thanks for your help, everyone, with that. All right, well, hearing none, let you know. So we've got a handout about conflict. It's there's textbook stuff. There's courses that you can take. Nip it in the bud early. In the Kiwaniverse, it's not uncommon. It's totally not uncommon that there will be conflict. Just let's make sure that we can all work on it, together. And at the end of the day, help the kids. That's what we're here for.
Last night I mentioned that I appreciated Brian and praised for working midstream during my year as governor when Lindsay took another position, and he did not miss a beat. And if you ever need anything, you can call 1-800-Kiwanis Sometimes you'll get Brian, sometimes you get Bryce, sometimes you get someone else that'll answer the phone. Whoever it is, they will know who to send you to. So do not be afraid to call Kiwanis International at any time, 1-800-Kiwanis, and they're there to help you. And it helped me a lot during my year, and I know Don has done that too. Whatever we need, they're there. So thank you, Brian.
You're welcome. Thank you, Harry. Yeah, we're available. We have a call center, just so some fun facts. If you've not been to the international office, we have a call center at the international office that is available typically 8 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is awesome. And you can call 1-800 and they will route you to the person that they think is going to be the best, best person to answer that. Our call center employees are also trained to work with our international Kiwanians. We have several people on staff who speak a second or third language. So if there's a language barrier, we're prepared to handle that. So we try and work as best as we can, knowing that we're global. We also have a second office. So Kiwanis does maintain an office in Europe, in Ghent, Belgium, G-H-E-N-T, Ghent, Belgium. We have a staff of, I believe, 5 colleagues that work in Ghent, and they handle our European market. And then we used to have a staff in Taipei, Taiwan. I don't believe there's a paid staff member there. We did at some point. So I have offered several times to just move there and do that because I really like Taiwan. It's great. So it's fun. So we have a lot of fun in what we do. We hope you have a lot of fun. And we know being a Kiwanis leader can be frustrating sometimes because you are going to get elevated into some conversations that you're like, what does this have to do with the upcoming service project? The show must go on. We have to keep the balls moving. So someone asked, can we contact you to come speak during a club meeting? Absolutely. I'm going to put my contact information directly in the chat. So you are welcome to. We are glad to come speak at a club meeting. We're glad to do what you need to do. If I'm not available, selfish plug, I am a TED Talk speaker about service. And TED Talks are in the public domain. So fun fact about being a TED Talk speaker, not only do you get to stand on that bright red dot and give your speech, you cannot move off that dot, by the way. Like Sue talks with her hands, I pace, and I got yelled at because I was getting too close to the edge of the dot during dress rehearsals. But you sign all these contracts and waivers that once you film your TED Talk, it is in the public domain. That is for anyone to view 24/7. You will not get royalties from it. None of us get paid to do TED Talks. But it is in the public domain. So you are welcome to use that. So if you're looking for some filler or for some good stuff, put together a TED Talk video series, because those are all cheap and easy to use and typically professionally done with the transitions and stuff. So I'm glad to do that. So let me put my contact information in there real quick. Ken, anything else you think we need? Cool.
Brian, I was going to say it's great to see you again. As always, the brain, as Don mentioned, and it's always wonderful to hear your advice and everything. As the CKI district administrator, I do have a funny conflict resolution story. I get messages, emails all the time about different conflicts that are going on, and one of them was a kind of serious one, but it was about this gentleman he was going to go after CKI. And so I looked at the email at first, I read through it, and all I read was CKI member gun, chase me away. I'm going to go to the authorities. And I was like, okay, got to get Bill, got to get Harry, got to get Ken. I got to get all these people on the line. I was like, wait, let me read through the email a little bit more. And it turned out it was a Albuquerque CK Circle K store where an employee there pulled a gun on somebody. And I was like, oh, okay, good. We're done. We're not completely. So I kind of calmed down and I said, okay. So I sent out an email and I said, here's a funny one for you guys, just because we all need to laugh sometimes. But So I let him know. I said, "Oh no, this is the number you need to call." I said, "And I hope everything goes well." Never heard back from him, but I thought that was a funny conflict resolution.
So James, along those lines, so fun fact about Kiwanis International, we have a main receptionist, Carla, who she is the face of Kiwanis. When you walk in the building or you call Kiwanis International, that's Carla, who you're most likely speaking to. And she does all the routing. She welcomes the visitors. Carla is her former job was an international flight attendant. So she knows how to work with people. You know, she has been on, you name it. And starting probably around April 13th, 14th, and 15th, the number one phone call that we will receive at the international office are from Circle K gas station employees who've lost their W-2s to file their taxes on April 15th. And so they call what they think is Circle K headquarters, and Carla has a Post-it note next to her computer, and we're all trained how to use it in case we get the phone call. If anyone needs their tax information resent to them, call 1-800. It's just and James, you're right. It's the little things that you just have to giggle and laugh at, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's about having fun. It's about having fun and getting out there and helping kids and helping each other. So I wish you an amazing March. It is going to be an interesting month for all of us. Governor Don, I'll be taking a couple of days off towards the end of the month. You know why.
Okay.
And we're here to love and support you and celebrate with you. Hopefully there's good things happening.
Thank you very much, Brian. Let's give Brian a hand too. So Brian's a great resource. One thing I'll follow up, when I went to governor-elect training, all the people I dealt with over the years, I went and met them in person. So I knew who they were. And everybody at KI is very, very, very helpful. I can't say any more about it. Before I close, Ken, have you got anything for the group?
I will be posting the videos of yesterday and today on our webpage, swdkiwanis.org. Don't expect that until tomorrow because it's going to take a little while to edit and just technology just to make everything work. So encourage your members to, if they couldn't attend decon mid-year, actually, sorry. If they couldn't attend mid-year, check out the videos. They're there. Sue and Brian were awesome today. Those will be videos that they will definitely want to watch. So swdkiwanis.org.
Thanks, Ken. Sharon?
Yes. How long will those videos?
I didn't hear all that. Can you say it again? I'm sorry.
How long will the videos be up?
Until somebody yells at me and says I need to take them down, but I kind of expect them to go onto our YouTube page, and just like our educational videos, we're just going to leave them up there because there's no need to be hiding information, especially great information like today, Susan Bryant's. That's got to stay there for a long time, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ken. I don't want you to think I've gotten any smarter today. I haven't. I just happen to know great people. So Sue and Brian, I really appreciate you joining us today. You made my day. Okay, let me conclude with some remarks. And I love Sue because she said something that I firmly believe. The most important people in this district I'm looking at, the members. I don't care what position you have, you're no better than the person next to you or in another club. So I appreciate her saying that because I think that means a lot to me personally. First, I want to thank everybody for attending. I just said the members are the most important position. I'm big on lieutenant governors because I think other than the members are first, Ken second, I think the lieutenant governors are third. I think the governor, and I'm not short-sighting the position, I don't occupy a position, it's a job as far as I'm concerned. but lieutenant governors are down where the rubber meets the road. So your selection of lieutenant governors is very, very important to the district because that's the way we communicate with the clubs. So what Harry said last night is very true. And we got to have, you've got to be, and you can look at Sue and Brian. One word comes to my mind, committed. They are committed to Kiwanis. And that's what all of us should be. So I want to, and another thing, I think we assume sometimes, and Sue said that we do not know everything. Just because I'm the governor doesn't mean I know everything. I'm seeing Karen Church shake her head because she knows me very well. So she can hear from me. Brian hears from me, not know everything. I think when you get to the point in your life, you think you know everything. You might not have died physically, but you've died mentally. So we got to keep learning and keep moving on. I want to thank all the people for attending. I want to thank the presenters. I want to thank the non-district Kiwanians. I mean, Kathleen, Chuck, even my Navy buddy, Dick. A lot of people have joined us in, and I appreciate them supporting us. One thing that keeps me going, and I think it's all of us get frustrated at times. So, I mean, I don't think that's a novel opinion, but what keeps me going, we have some great people in the Southwest District. I mean, totally great people who do a great deal, and you might not even know about it. I know about it because I hear about it or I've met them and stuff. So just keep in mind, we've got great people here. If you have any comments on the conference, you can email me or Ken. Please just make it constructive comments like, Don, you forgot Jim was the treasurer. He was the secretary. Well, I'm trying to save 2 spots. I'm making the secretary treasurer, so that's okay. I want to share 2 things with you. I just thought one last night, and I know somebody's probably said that. I think sometimes we're too much into talking and not doing. Now, obviously, Sue or Brian does not meet that, what I just said. But a child will not remember what you say, but he'll remember what you do for him. So remember that. And here's one I just got this morning, words of wisdom. And I don't want you to think I thought of this because I'm not that smart. Attitude is a choice. Happiness is a choice. Is whatever choice you make sure you choose wisely. And that's Roy T. Bennett. He's author of The Light in the Heart. So thanks again for coming. I appreciate Karen and Ken. Without them, I got a new word I'm sending to Webster. It's ungeekified. Karen and Ken are my resident geeks. I wouldn't be anywhere without them. So I appreciate what everybody does, and thank you for a great conference, and have a good day. Be safe and stay well. Thank you.
Good job, Don and the team.
Great to see everybody.
Thank you,
Hey,
Don.
nice, Cookie, nice to see you.
Thanks, Ken and Don.
Thanks, Karen.
Yeah,
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, let's hope we
is
can
Alma.
have
Thank you all
maybe a
so much.
hybrid decon this year. I don't think we'll have a 100% open, but maybe it'll be good to have a hybrid.
Hope
Thanks,
so.
Ken and Don.
It was
Okay.
great to see everybody.
Thank you, Governor Don.
Okay. Have a great day, everybody.
Yeah,
Bye from California.
bye.
Oh, hallelujah.
Bye,
The
Pops.
guy's leaving.
I got a service project to go to. See you later.
Oh, good for you, Dick.
Bingo. Bye.
Bye, Candy.
See you tomorrow, Don.
Okay, Jerry. 1200.
Hey, Karen,
It's John. Would you give me a call? I got something to do for our high school groups. So it's going to be good.
Always a scary thought when John Northcutt says to you, "Can you give me a call?"
Amen. Amen.
It's
Thank
better
you,
than
Governor
me
Don,
calling
again
you.
for everything.
Hey, Jerry, I see you on there. I think, oh, there you are. Hey, my brother will be in town next weekend to pick up, to take his son to an event, and they'll coordinate with you to pick up the masks.
That's next weekend.
Yeah, the 13th.
Okay. Just give him my phone number, have him call me. I'll meet him wherever I need to.
Okay.
Hey, Cookie, are you doing well?
Thanks, Ken,
Thank
for
you.
all your hard work. Appreciate you and Karen very much.
No problem. It was fun.
And Jerry, tomorrow, 1200, I'm gonna pick up masks from Jerry. I've already called Division 9 Lieutenant Governor. I'm gonna call her and deliver her mask so I don't have to come back up to the small town of Tucson since I live in the big town of Sierra Vista.
Maybe we should, Don, maybe we should contact Brian about our conflict resolution that we were talking about the other day.
Amen.
Maybe he can help us put a class or something together.
Okay. That's a good idea because I can use, I thought he did very well.
I liked
I
him.
was really impressed.
He's always good.
Yeah, so that could be a Tequila Tuesday subject for presidents and stuff and president-elects.
He's usually really good, but this time he was great. He was really good this time. And
Well,
I just love Sue,
you
man.
gotta up your game if you're gonna follow Sue, because I tell you, I love her because what you see is what you get. I mean, she's just one super lady. And if there's any doubt in anybody's mind, while she was the first female international president, I mean, you can see she's just a wealth of knowledge and she's a worker. She's not just a talker. She's just super. I love her. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get off. Good seeing everybody. Cookie, Nilda, you guys have a great day. Maple, thanks for joining.
Hi.
Bye-bye.
Hello from Massachusetts.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow. Take care.
Okay.
It's
Thank
cold
you,
out there.
everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, I imagine.
But the snow is shrinking. It doesn't melt. It just shrinks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Here, everyone.